Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the Pagani Design PD1706 GMT. This is an homage to the Tudor Black Bay GMT. I've been really looking forward to reviewing this watch. I ordered it quite a while ago, and even though I have a lot of other watches to review, I decided to go ahead and let this one jump the line so it can be the next one to review. Let's start out with the wrist check. I'm wearing my Tag Heuer Aqua Racer, and Gregor's wearing my Heimdallr Monster. Gregor is learning military strategy and asked Chewbacca if he has any experience with frontline defense. He said no, he just uses a flea collar. Here's the watch. This watch came in the typical Pagani Design box. You had the option for a little bit more of getting the big clamshell box, but I didn't want that because those weigh a lot and I have to ship these watches and it costs a lot more to ship them if they have those big clamshell boxes. Once again, this is an homage to the Tudor Black Bay GMT. Pagani Design has done many in an homage to Rolex GMT Masters, but this is the first one based on the Tudor. But is it more than just taking their Rolex homages and adding snowflake hands and a rivet bracelet? Let's watch this review to find out. I purchased the Pepsi colorway. There's also a Batman and a Coke. Tudor only makes a Pepsi, so I wanted the watch that most resembled the real item. The watch is 40.2 millimeters at the bezel, 47.8 millimeters lug to lug with inverted end links, 14.4 millimeters thick, but 2 millimeters of that is this crystal, has a 20 millimeter lug width, and weighs 157 grams with 3 links removed. The unidirectional bezel is a 90 click with an aluminum insert. A GMT watch should have a bidirectional bezel, but most affordable GMTs have a unidirectional bezel due to sharing parts with their diver counterparts. I've complained about 90 click in GMT before, preferring 120 since 24 divides it to 120 evenly. However, 90 click is still fairly close to the 96, so that really is a minor complaint. Even though Rolex is using ceramic for GMT bezels, Tudor is still using aluminum due to the vintage theme of the Black Bay line. I must say that I am a little disappointed with the colors of the bezel, as they look more like a pre-ceramic Rolex than the Tudor. The Tudor's colors are darker, deeper, and far more flatter. It is a very nice looking bezel, just not the one advertised. The bezel is a coin-edged and has a very nice action with just the amount of resistance with no backplay. The bezel also overhangs the case just a little bit, so it makes it really easy to get a grip, which is a nice change compared to a lot of watches. And as you can see, the bezel lines up just, well, actually I went one too far. All right, let's do this again. As you can see, the bezel lines up nicely with the 12 o'clock. The bezel is also fully loomed, which is something that you can't say about the Rolex or the Tudor. The flat black dial has no sunburst effect, has applied fully loomed indices with a date at the 3. The indices are an inverted triangle at the 12, batons at the 3 and the 6, and dots everywhere else. Pagani Design and logo is printed on, then GMT automatic. Water resistant, and then it gives the depth rating. When you give the depth rating, I don't know why you have to say water resistance. If you give the depth rating, water resistant is implied. It'll be less cluttered just to leave that out. The hands are Tudor snowflake style. Unlike the Tudor, the GMT hand, though, is not a snowflake, and instead is this rather large and odd-looking arrow. I don't like the shape of this arrow. The GMT hand is also loomed. The crystal is a flat sapphire box crystal. I tested the crystal and it is indeed sapphire. It sticks out a full 2 millimeters above the crystal. I do not know if it has air coating or not, but it does a good job of not reflecting the light and you can see through it easily. The signed screw down crown provides 200 meters of water resistance, which is twice as much as most Pagani designs. There are no crown guards like a Tudor. but the base of the crown is painted red. This is the same way on the other Pagani Design Tudor Homage I reviewed earlier. This red works with the Pepsi bezel because the Pepsi bezel has some red on it, but I don't know if it works at all with the Batman version. So if you get the Batman, beware. They also have a Coke colorway though, so this would work with the Coke also. Has a solid stainless steel case, which is mostly brushed, other than this little bevel here, which is polished. The bottom has circular brushing. It has a nicely etched screw-down case back with the Pagani Design name and logo, and it also gives the water resistance of 200 meters. Most Pagani Designs have 100 meters, and a lot have display case backs. It would have been difficult to get 200 meters with a display case back. Display case backs were fun when I first got into watches, but now I'd rather have a more solidly built watch instead, so I think this was the right move. The movement is a Pearl DG5833A GMT. This movement hand winds and hacks. This is a 3 Hz movement that is running 11 seconds fast, which isn't great but acceptable. This is not a true GMT movement, meaning that it does not have an hour hand that can be set independently. When you put the crown in the second position, let me unscrew it for you and put it in the second position. If you turn the crown clockwise, it sets the date. And if you turn the crown counterclockwise, it sets the GMT hand. The GMT hand will only move in one direction. So if you go to set it, let's say if I want to set it to 18, if you go too far, then you have to go all the way around again. It does not turn in the other direction. The bracelet has solid inverted end links. The links are solid single links that look like 3 links, and then it have these edges too that are riveted on, and they also are used for the adjustment links. When you unscrew one of the links, you can see these move, so they are indeed separate pieces. I don't know if the rivets are real or just decoration, but they look nice. The adjustment links do have screw-in pins instead of push pins. The heads, though, are rather small, and I had a difficult time unscrewing these screw pins. Some of them were really tight, and it was really hard to get a screwdriver in there. So keep that in mind if you order one of these and need to adjust the bracelet, and you will because it's really large coming stock. You might want to make sure you have a really good screwdriver and not use the screwdriver that comes with the watch. I do not remember having that kind of difficulty with the other Pagani Design Tudor Homage I reviewed not too long ago. The sign clasp is fully milled with 3 micro adjust positions, and it also has a diver extension. The diver extension is what takes up a lot of room in the clasp, which is why it can't have another micro adjust in this direction. But it seems like they had enough room in this direction to put another one. It would have been nice if they would have put 4. 4 is the ideal number of micro adjusts because you want to be able to make it a little bit larger than a link. And then you can always set it for one of the middle holes, and that way if you ever have to adjust it, you always have another hole in either direction. I don't know why they included a diver's extension since this is not a diver watch, but it is rated for 200 meters, so you can actually wear this diving. Just keep in mind though, this is not ISO 6425 certified, so you should not use it as your primary timing device when you dive. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. It looks really nice. It's a nice looking watch. Wears really comfortable. I had to remove 3 links to fit this on my wrist. So if you have a really big wrist, you should be able to wear this just fine. And there's also the diver extension if you have to let it out more. Here's the watch on the NATO strap that was included with it. I noticed some videos of other people that got this watch on YouTube, and their extra strap had a red stripe down the middle. But they both got the one with the nicer box. So maybe you don't get the nicer NATO strap unless you buy the one with the nicer box. Or maybe it's just random. I don't know. I guess it looks fine. Here it is on the Bond NATO. I think that looks a little bit better than the solid black. And here it is on vintage leather. I just think a Pepsi watch on vintage leather just looks awesome. In fact, if I ever did buy the real Tudor, I think I'd want the one on the leather rather than the bracelet. I was kind of surprised with the lume test. Initial impressions when going from light to dark rooms led me to believe that the lume was quite good. So I decided to bring out the Heimdallr, which is my non-Seiko heavy hitter. Then I also have the No Time to Die Seamaster Homage for my PAR reference. Unfortunately, as we speed up the time, David is not only falling quickly to Goliath, it is also falling behind the No Time to Die with the hands fading before the indices. So sadly, this lume rates is subpar. What do I like about this watch? Well, I like the really good bezel action. The bezel action is just excellent. Not too stiff, not too light. Lines up nicely. And even though it's a 90 click, 90 is close enough to 96, you can usually line them up to the indices just fine. I like the fact that it has a nice solid build with a good case, great case back. I like this riveted bracelet. It looks like a Tudor bracelet. It just looks cool. I like this fully milled clasp. And I like the fact that it has a fully lume bezel. Once again, the Rolex and the Tudor do not have a lume bezel at all. What are my gripes and groans? Well, the bezel colors resemble the Rolex more than the Tudor. This is supposed to look like the Tudor, so I wish they would have got the colors a little bit closer. And, well, let me move this out of the way. But I really don't like this GMT arrow. I just don't like what it looks like. Just look at that. It's just kind of odd looking. It doesn't look like any other GMT watch. Just not a very good design. And I don't like the fact that the hand lume fades so quickly. The Indus lume and the bezel lume isn't that bad, but the hands fade very quickly. And once again, it's no good to have indexes loomed if the hands aren't loomed. Do I recommend this watch? Yes. Even though it doesn't look exactly like the Tudor, this is still a solidly built GMT watch with 200 meters water resistance and a great bracelet. I just wish Pagani Design would tweak the bezel colors to make it look a little bit more like the Tudor. Plus give some lume on the hands. But really though, if you want a watch, if you like the looks of this watch, I don't think you will be disappointed. Well, thank you for watching my review. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Be sure to like this video too. And I will be back with another review because I'm done with all my unboxings for a while. Bye.